ViacomCBS has completed their recent earnings report for quarter one, and we've got some interesting news coming out of San Diego. Let's pour it up! Okay, so our first story of the day kind of deals with San Diego Comic-Con going the distance by maintaining social distance between everybody by having the convention be done remotely, digitally, essentially, all on the web. You're going to be doing it at home. We don't really have much information regarding it. All we have so far is just a little teaser that was released very recently that just says, hey, we're going to be doing this Comic-Con thing remotely like a lot of other people, and stay tuned. We don't really necessarily even know if they're going to keep the same dates of the original San Diego Comic-Con that was scheduled for this year that was originally canceled. We don't know what their real plan is. We don't even know if there's going to be like different ticket sales or different kind of access points where you're going to be able to get access to certain panels online and stuff like that, or how they're going to be able to control that access, because once somebody's in there, they can just record it and share it out. So I don't know how they're going to do all that, or if they're going to bother with that at all, or if even all of the vendors are even going to appear there. Nothing is right now set in stone. We don't really know too much about it. Obviously, this is very important for us here at Star Trek, just because so much stuff was released last year at San Diego Comic-Con, namely all the stuff from Picard. That was very, very exciting. We were all excited about all that information there. So we're hoping that if this does go through, that Alex Kurtzman and all of those folks, Heather Caden, and Akiva Goldsman and all of them show up to do some type of interaction with the fans, some type of panel, maybe not with all the actors like they normally do, but do something and put together some kind of showcase product to continue to get the buzz alive for Discovery coming up and Lower Decks, and then whatever they want to do for the Pike show that we know about now, and any of the other shows that are coming down the pike. So I hopefully they're going to be able to do that. So this is very exciting news for us, and I'm also just excited in general as just kind of a fan of the San Diego Comic-Con. I'm hoping that we're going to get to see some really cool stuff. I think we've had a lot of big cancellations. I know E3 was canceled, but E3 has kind of been waning over the years, but a lot of the individual expos have also been either taken digitally or straight up canceled. So there's quite a bit of stuff out there that we're kind of lacking this year to kind of keep us all distracted from the sadness that is our lives. So hopefully we're all just going to get some really cool stuff here through the San Diego Comic-Con digital thing, and I'll keep you guys posted with more details once I know them, and then we'll see if there's going to be like different sale prices or different tickets, or how we can go about getting access, so that either we can try to pool money together so that we can get access to all the good stuff here on the channel, or you guys, maybe it'll be cheap enough for all of us to get in there individually, but we'll see what happens. Okay, so on to the second story for today. This is a little bit more boring, I think, for some of you, but I find this stuff to be rather interesting. Essentially what happened is ViacomCBS had their quarter one earnings report with investors, I think just a couple days ago. And out of there, we gleaned quite a bit of information. The big key takeaway that I want everyone to know before I get into the numbers thing is that, one, CBS All Access is going to be getting a rebranding. Two, it's going to be injected with a lot more of the Paramount films, a lot more BET, MTV, Nickelodeon, all of those sub-channels that, Viacom owns. They're going to be pumping that into CBS All Access. And CBS All Access, or whatever it's going to be called after the rebranding, is going to be going much more international. That's their goal ultimately, which honestly, all of these things are things that we've been theorizing on this channel for over a year, since we found out about the merger, since we found out about, them kind of going with Picard. The intention being that they're going to attempt to get themselves into an international position and become a key player. I do think that that is one of the reasons why they stepped away from their Netflix deal, because Netflix wants to maintain their monopoly on all of that international stuff. But in order for CBS to remain relevant and to kind of continue to grow, essentially, they have to go into an international market natively. So I think that that's what they're going to be doing here. It's obviously kind of a standard move, and I think it's a real threat. I think, when you look at the CBS archives, and then you look at the Paramount's archives, and then all of these channels that Viacom owns once they merge back with CBS, I think they've got more original content for their streaming stuff than Disney Plus or Apple TV does. And I think they've got more classic stuff than Apple TV and Disney Plus stuff. Maybe not Disney, but definitely Apple, obviously. But they are a serious threat, very big contender, and they're going to continue to grow, I think, as an entity for streaming. I think it's going to become kind of a big deal in the next year or so. I think as some of these other kind of streaming services fall off on the wayside that every other channel under the sun is doing, I think that they're going to really start merging everything together and really start to become one of the more bigger threats out there. So it's going to be interesting to see how the streaming wars continue to unfold here. So talking about the numbers, they did release quite a bit of information in regards to all the different facets of ViacomCBS's holdings, whether that be, from anything from newscasts to sports stuff to their syndicated cable networks to what they're doing for COVID-19, all that stuff like that. But obviously, we're focused a little bit here on this channel with the streaming aspect of it and what's going on with Star Trek. Obviously, one of the big things is that the CBS All Access subscriber numbers has now reached 13.5 million, which is 50% higher year over year, which is insane when you really consider that their intention was to be much less than that for projected of the entirety of 2020. But now they've readjusted their intentions for 2020 to be around 16 to 20 million, hopefully by the end of this year. So we'll see how that kind of turns out. Obviously, there was a record-breaking number of subscription signups, apparently, for the month of April to CBS All Access. That's most likely due to COVID-19, so we'll see what the staying power is for a lot of that stuff. And some of that did have to do with the free piece. I know that they did give out a free month. It does not differentiate in their report if that this was related to their free months or if it was related to their paid subscribers, but there are more subscribers set up right there, and I think they're doing their best to hope that even if they got that one free month or met 2 free months, that they'll wind up staying on longer because of all the new shows that they're going to be adding there. And another thing that came out from this little kind of earnings report is that obviously, the amount of hours and minutes and seconds being watched on CBS All Access also increased. So they got a bunch of new subscribers, they've beaten out their projections, and now they've also beaten out all of their previous records for the amount of hours and minutes and seconds being watched. Obviously, April was a huge month for CBS All Access, with them singling out Star Trek Picard, Star Trek Discovery, and a few other shows as being the top contenders, including, I think, like Survivor, whatever it was. So there was a few shows in there that were their top draws for the entire month, and Picard was in there. So that's really good to hear. That's really great news. I think that's what everybody wants to hear. And it kind of isn't surprising. They gave out that free month, and it was after the show was over. And I know a lot of people in my kind of life and circle that were waiting either for a deal to get into CBS All Access or for Picard to kind of end so they could binge the entire show all in one sitting. So this was a perfect opportunity, kind of a perfect storm for them, that they were able to capitalize a little bit on that, at-home staying power of social distancing, with the show being closed down and, finished up, I should say, not closed down, and the fact that they were able to give out that free month. So they were able to really capitalize on that, and it obviously worked out like gangbusters for their numbers on the back end. Now, what's important is they have to continue that momentum going, and I think that's why I kind of wanted to include that San Diego Comic-Con bit in this video as well, because they need to kind of continue to pull people in and get them excited to stay on board with CBS All Access or whatever they're going to call it in the future, because they have to try to make sure that people continue to pay and want to stay on there. So they got to get something good on there, kind of like a road show for CBS All Access to say, hey, look at all this cool stuff. Stay subscribed. Don't give up just yet. We got Discovery coming out soon. We've got Lower Decks coming out. We've got other original shows that are going to be exciting. So, I think that they really have to make sure that they continue to utilize all of their resources. And it's a very tricky time where they don't have a lot of people that they have on staff that they normally do. So they've got to manage all that. And I'm sure it's a bit of a headache for them, but they obviously did the right thing for the month of April, and hopefully it'll continue to grow for them in the future. And all of this stuff just spells greatness for Star Trek. The more money that CBS All Access rakes in, the more people are watching these shows, the more shows we're going to get for Star Trek, and the more money they're going to be able to get to make the shows even more expansive, more exciting, that maybe we'll get some films, whatever it is. I'm very excited for it, so I think this is all great news for Star Trek. All right, guys and gals, that does wrap up for today's video. I will link down in the description below both the information regarding San Diego Comic-Con's at-home thing and also the Q1's earnings stuff. I do want you guys to make sure you guys go check that out. It is a lot of interesting reads. They have 2 really interesting little PDFs that kind of summarizes everything, so you don't have to go through like the giant transcript of the actual, meetings call. So definitely check those out. I really enjoyed them. There's a lot of really interesting information in there and kind of how they work numbers and kind of get things done there. But I am curious to hear what you guys and gals think about all this. Are you going to be tuning into San Diego Comic-Con at home? And are you excited to hear that CBS All Access has done some really great stuff in the month of April? And what do you think that means for Star Trek? Get your ideas and comments up down below, and we'll go ahead and get the conversation started. Live long and prosper, my Trekkies!